guitar for about 13 years, and over that period of time I've owned and borrowed many different guitars. I could tell you the difference between a Strat and a Tele. I could tell you how a Les Paul sounds different to a Gretsch, right? I've borrowed these guitars, I've used these guitars, and I can understand sort of the tonal differences. I can hear a Strat on an album and I know it's a Strat, you know, hear a Les Paul, know it's a Les Paul. For some reason, the Jazzmaster and the Jag it's just two guitars that I couldn't tell you the difference. I couldn't really sonically hear what's going on and identify, oh, that's definitely a Jag or that's definitely a Jazzmaster. Maybe you can, but I've never been able to do that. I sort of always put them in this box as the jangly, surfy, offset guitars. But I decided enough is enough stereotyping. I want to figure out actually how they sound, how they differ, what I like better, how they work in a mix, how they sound isolated, compare them together, and check out the results. So yeah, let's figure it out. So in this video, I don't want to go into crazy detail when it comes to comparing the guitars visually and the feel and the electronics. I want to kind of talk more about tonally, how they sound different to each other. But there are two main things that sort of, for me, differentiate the Jazzmaster to its cousin, the Jag. First thing are the pickups. On this Jazzmaster, you'll notice we have these really wide-looking single coil pickups, soap bar looking things. But the pickups in these are very different to the ones in the Jag. The other important difference for me anyway between a Jazzmaster and a Jag is the scale length. So the scale length, if you don't know what that means, is the distance between the saddles and the nut. The scale length on this guitar is the regular 25.5-inch scale length that you'll find on a Tele or on a Strat. Most Fender guitars sort of use that scale length. So that gives it a feel that you might be more familiar with and more comfortable with if you are a Strat or a Tele player. But let me get the Jag. On the Jag though, we have a shorter scale length of 24 inches. So a typical Gibson guitar is around 24 3/4, so it's a little bit shorter than a Fender, but this is shorter again. So it's actually quite a short scale. In the hand, when playing one against the other, it actually does feel considerably different. And then you can see here that the pickups are entirely different. If you do want to find out exactly what the difference is in the pickups, there's probably a million videos, there's probably heaps of web forums on all that sort of stuff. So I'm not going to go into it here, but they both have two pickups. They both have a volume and a tone control here. As you saw in the Jazzmaster, we had like a Gibson style pickup selector. Typically on a Jag, there's actually the three little switches that I think one of them turns the bridge pickup on and off, one turns the neck on and off, and the other one's like a bass cut or something. But this one is a Johnny Marr signature Jag and has different sort of switching, which I think is a lot better than the on and off thing, so I'm glad. And then typically in a Jag, we'll have the similar rhythm circuit that the Jazzmaster has, basically bypasses the bridge pickup, only goes to the neck, I think. You have a separate volume and tone wheel sort of thing. I'll show you that, hang on. So up here, there's a little switch, little wheels here. In this video though, I'm just gonna show the difference between the bridge pickup, the neck pickup, and the middle position. That's kind of all that really matters to me personally. And if you want to see me sort of demonstrate the other features on these guitars, I don't know, leave a comment if you're keen for something like that in the future. Okay, so the first sound example you're gonna hear is each guitar played, the bridge position, the middle, and then the neck sort of back to back so that we can just hear how the guitar sort of stands alone by itself, how it sounds in the different positions. In terms of gear, I'll have it all listed in the description below. For my amp and cabinet though, I am using the Strymon Iridium, so just keep that in mind. One thing I noticed was that the Jazzmaster was quite a lot louder. It had quite a lot more output than the Jag, but I didn't really want the output thing, the loudness thing, to be part of this comparison. Usually if you hear something and it's louder, it kind of starts to feel like it sounds better. And in this scenario, it would push the amp harder, we'd get more overdrive. I didn't really want that to come into this comparison. So I'm just edging the volume down a little bit on the compression going into the Iridium so that the levels are relatively matched and the breakup into the Iridium is relatively matched. So keep that in mind. The Jazzmaster is actually louder, but I've sort of matched them so that we can just hear how the pickups sound and how they compare. I also wanted to hear how the guitars sounded into different amp styles. The first example you're going to hear is the bridge pickup on the Jazzmaster into sort of a Fender Deluxe reverb style thing, and then the same thing on the Jag. So we're going to hear the two guitars back to back. The second example will be the middle position into an AC30, both guitars, and then we're going to hear the bridge pickup into a Marshall Plexi. Again, the compression settings are changing slightly so that we can sort of have an even comparison between the two guitars. Well, how enlightening. This is really important. This is more important than how much you practice. This is more important than how often you gig. This is more important than your scales and your theory and anything else. Actually hearing how these pickups sound is the most important thing. So if you own a Jazzmaster and you don't like it, you need to buy a Jag. And if you have a Jag and you like the Jazzmaster more, sell it. Sell it and buy a Jazzmaster, because you're not going to be able to reach okay, I'm kidding. It was really cool, I think, to hear the differences in the two guitars in that sort of context. I think I definitely learned something. I'm not actually going to talk about my thoughts and what I think, because that really doesn't matter what I think. It really matters what you think. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Honestly, if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I plan to make more of these videos. If you like these videos, and if I decide that I enjoy the process of making this video, which I'm sure I will. I've got some other ideas for some comparisons, some gear stuff, some lesson things. So hit the like button, subscribe, do all that, hit the bell, leave a comment. The interaction really helps, and it helps me to know whether this is something that I can kind of keep doing and you'll be interested in watching. I might just keep making them for myself, but anyways, I really appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next one.